Key to the fast-moving developments inside Turkey and on the northern Syrian border as well is the suggestion now from US and Turkish officials that they are contemplating the idea of some sort of safe zone within inside Turkey. An idea first floated by Turkish officials at the weekend, now being taken more seriously by the United States. But the practicality of this plan still very distant indeed. Media reports suggesting it may run somewhere between north of Aleppo, across the Syrian border, pretty much up to where Kurdish forces already control territory. That's the idea, that's the ambition. How do you put it into play? The gaping hole here, who would be the ground troops to back up the Turkish and coalition US air power in the skies hitting ISIS targets? Another complication that may perhaps bring some sense of clarity if actually enforced to an increasingly expanding Turkish campaign here that began, it seemed, as a response to ISIS hitting a southern town called Suruç with a suicide bombing, now expanding into a campaign against a long-term adversary Turkey's had, the Kurds. The Kurds themselves, not all being hit, but one fragment of the Kurds called the PKK, the Kurdish Workers' Party, that Turkey and indeed the US consider terrorists, are being struck by airstrikes. But they're allies with a different group of Kurds called the YPG, who are in fact assisting the coalition on the ground by attacking ISIS. A very messy conflict, potentially, that Turkey is finding itself in now, and this is being coupled with a wave of arrests across the country of those they consider to be terrorists, most linked to ISIS. Potentially over 1,000 now being under detention. So Turkey now looking towards a meeting in Brussels with NATO that it has called under Article 4, under which countries that are member states of the Washington Treaty can express their concerns and perhaps even request assistance from other NATO members in the event that they find themselves under threat. Not as severe as Article 5, which the US used after 9/11, but a certain symbolic moment that Turkey may well use to potentially get some sort of rhetorical endorsement for its move against the Kurds as well as ISIS here. But most NATO members don't seem to openly endorse attacks against the Kurds. In fact, some Kurdish groups are assisting other NATO members like the US on the ground. A phenomenally complex situation, but that one is substantially changing the dynamic in northern Syria and on Turkey's very volatile southern border, and certainly removing the suggestion that Turkey is no longer fully invested and in the battle now for northern Syria in the fight against ISIS. Nick Paton Walsh, CNN, Beirut.